Welcome back to this final segment of Cleaning Up the Mess. But before we continue, here are some more images of the Beetham landfill, which we visited earlier this month, and an interview with Dave Gajadar of Carib Glass while we were there.
As we see for ourselves around here, everything is just being sent to the landfills, and we need to have sorting stations. We also need to have, we have OSHA laws in Trinidad and Tobago where you ought to have waste separation, at least toxic separation, before it gets to the landfills. So that is a significant issue as well. So it's not only waste management laws, it's a combination of OSHA laws, waste management laws that is also causing this landfill to be, as we see it here, filled with toxic debris, and of course the food waste as well too. That is also a health hazard as well.
On our way here, you were talking about the problem that we face with the rodents here. This is a breeding ground for rodents, and that could pose a health risk as well. Why is that?
Because you need to remove the little waste that you have within your product, your bottles, your milk, your cartons, your food. It's all coming here, it's all coming in, and it's a happy hunting ground for Trinidad and Tobago for pests and rodents, and then they just gravitate and they go outward into the wider community. So we will always have the problems with mosquitoes, rats, cockroaches. It's starting from here, and it's a happy hunting ground for them. It's a haven, it's a food, it's a heaven here for them.
What do you think needs to happen for us to come up to like basic state of sanitation so that our people's food and their water and their health is not affected?
Well, it has to go with that waste separation. It has to start from the households, and then it goes into the garbage collections, and then the further sorting is taken at sorting stations, and then whatever is left comes to the dumps, which is really just dump material. So it has to start with that legislation, which is imperative, and then it mandates people to separate their waste, and then further separation at sorting stations, and then finally here. That's the only way out. Otherwise, everything goes into the garbage bag or garbage dump, and then it all comes here. So when we're cleaning and beautifying our country, we're doing it in peace, and then it all comes back here, as you're seeing. And we're really not cleaning and beautifying, actually.
Let's get back to the whole question of legislation, gentlemen, and education.
Yeah.
Before legislation comes into place, do you think that we need to change the hearts and minds of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, make them proud of our country? Because if you go to any park, say King George V Park, after an event, it's a complete mess. What can be done to prevent that?
If you have an event, there is a responsibility for the person who rents the venue for the event. Those who rent them the facility must take fees, caution fees, which will enforce that, make sure that the place is cleaned within a specific time. The same thing goes for any other activity. If you watch Carnival over the years, what has changed is clean up while you are on the street. We no longer must rent venues and do not put a stamp on the environmental cleanup required for the venue. It is not just renting a venue. You must provide a fee for environmental cleanup. If that isn't clean, we will go in and clean it, and send you the bill. You'll be charged according to it. Whoever rents it.
Who actually gives people the permission to rent these public spots?
Well, if City of Port of Spain you have to get permission from City of Port of Spain to use King George V for any event.
And should it be mandatory that there should be a certain amount of bins around the place?
Yes, it should be mandatory.
And is it done?
Well, I'm not sure if it is done. The thing is that it should be mandatory. I am sure they might tell them about some of these requirements. But the problem is, again, enforcement. If you do not enforce it, then they will always feel that they can get away with it. And it takes days before. You don't have to pursue them, they take days before you clean it. In that time, the wind has blown it to the side streets and everything else, and therefore it becomes a major problem.
So it's a chicken and egg thing. We're waiting for legislation, but the people may not be ready in their minds to actually act in a different kind of way with their separation. So again, what happens first?
Again, you need the public awareness campaign. You need a big, all-encompassing public awareness campaign, especially geared towards the children, because they're the ones who will change much quicker than the adults. So you gear it towards the children and be consistent with it. Just keep sticking with it. Many years ago, there was a successful campaign, Keep Charlie Away. That cleaned up the environment in a way that nobody expected. I think everybody was very impressed how that went. Something like that needs to happen again. But not only with the Keep Charlie Away, in other words, don't put litter on the ground or throw it on the side of the road. Separate your garbage. Yes, don't litter, but also separate your garbage in your home. And start doing it, because change is going to come, and we need to be able to roll with it and move forward when the change does come.
Your final comments, Mrs. Scott. How can we change as a people?
We have to change in our minds. If we do not change in our minds, we'll never change. I think that the problem we face with is we leave here and go to New York or Canada.
Exactly.
And overnight we fit in, we change, we do not litter, we do not spit in drains, we don't do all the things that we would have done in Trinidad.
Yes.
But once we step off the plane back in Trinidad, many of us fall back into the same old habit. Well, nobody in Trinidad really cares. Again, it gets back to the fact. What gets punished gets observed. So Trinidadians do not get punished, so they do not observe the law. There must be some form of punishment, and in that form of punishment, we must ensure that they do the things that are necessary. Punishment may not necessarily mean fines. Maybe people should be made to start doing like what was done to Boy George. Go out and put on our uniform and start cleaning. Maybe then they'll understand what it means to have to pick up after somebody.
I'll give each of you 10 seconds to give the government a message. Perhaps I'll start with you.
Recycle has been adopted all over the world in all the major countries. If we want to develop as a country, we have to have an all-encompassing system for recycling. Simple as that.
Thank you, Alan. Alvin.
I would just like the government to recognize that waste will not go away. In the final chapter, whatever you do in life produces waste. And therefore, they must make reservation for dealing with waste, whether it's by recycling or whatever method that is possible. But it is a combination of methods that will solve the problem. Recycling is just one of those combination of methods. And therefore, we need to look at it. The fact is, waste will not go away. It was us the starting of life, and it's going to be here with us at the end of life.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time for 2 weeks. Really appreciate it. And that's where we wrap up. We welcome government's intention to do a feasibility study on recycling. This is what a Bajan website has to say about recycling. Why recycle? Well, the short answer to this question is why not? Why do we in the 21st century take it for granted that everything we purchase comes protected in so many layers of disposable material? Everything we dispose of goes somewhere. Although once a container or a bag of rubbish is out of our hands and out of our houses, we forget it instantly. But our consumerist lifestyle is rapidly filling up rubbish dumps the world over. Digging bigger holes and chucking in tons and tons of rubbish on a daily basis is no solution. Who wants a rubbish heap on their doorstep? But the more householders dispose of packaging, the more we have to expand our municipal dumps, which often have to expand into agricultural land or green belt land. Waste disposal experts can only do so much. Ultimately, we have to tackle the problem at the root, each and every one of us. There has been a draft of a bill that deals with the recycling of beverage containers since 2000. It's been gathering dust. The government of Trinidad and Tobago over the past 10 years has failed to enact any legislation that deals with recycling, from manufacture to purchase to disposal. Citizens must know where to dispose and how. The people of Trinidad and Tobago eagerly look forward to government's waste management legislation, enforcement, and a proper waste separation plan. Our letter of the week comes from Chandra Lee Kong, who tells us that when King George V Park is used for big events such as the breast cancer survivor benefit concert, much debris is left behind. She says that includes a stench of urine, large puddles, broken bottles and other garbage. Chandra suggests that Napa and paved parts of the Queen's Park Savannah may be a better option. Chandra asks, why confine such a large event to such a small space? The noise will reverberate throughout the area into St. James and possibly Woodbrook. One event must not cancel out the importance of the environment. We hope the organizers and authorities giving permission for such events are listening. And please continue to care. Send in your comments, suggestions and photos on our environment to cleaning up the mess at guardian.co.tt. Join our Facebook page. I'm also urging every company that recycles to do send in your details. People want to recycle but don't know where to go. We do know that Carib Glass wants your bottles for cash. So remember that on the 25th of September, Carib Glass joins with volunteers throughout the country to clean up trash on our beaches and river courses. Call them on 662-2231-7, extension 286. In the meantime, I urge you not to litter, to recycle your glass, paper and plastics as much as you can, and work towards creating a cleaner, greener and more beautiful Trinidad and Tobago. This is CNC3. I'm Ira Mathur. Have a great day.